We are not far away from the point in which EA starts to announce EA Sports FC. They have already revealed that that's going to be the name, and it's likely this year it's going to be called EA Sports FC 24. But with that, we are still waiting for confirmation. And the other thing that we know is that within July, this is when EA really starts to kick off the promo. That's when they start to push the reveal trailers, the gameplay trailers, as well as everything connected to each and every individual game mode. We're really not too far away, but before all of that happens, let's actually put together a wish list of everything that we would like to see. But before we do get into the video, if you're looking to get some very easy coins, then there is no better place than SkyCoach. With SkyCoach, all you need to do is select how many you want and the platform that you play on, and within just a few short hours, those coins will be added to your account, ready for you to do whatever it is you want to do. You want to go into FUT Draft? Go into FUT Draft. You want to buy players? Buy players. If you want to spend it all and waste it on packs, then spend it all and waste them all on packs. The choice is really up to you. If you're interested, there is a link in the description down below. Click that. That will take you straight over to SkyCoach. But also remember to go and use Fnatic at checkout because you can get yourself a 10% discount. In this video, I've tried to select some stuff which is a bit ambitious, other stuff which you would expect EA to actually improve upon, but whether or not they do, we'll soon find out. But let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below of all the things that you would like to see, whether it be big or small. So the first thing that I've listed is less attention on Ultimate Team by itself. For the last 10 years, it seems like EA have put more and more focus in Ultimate Team. In fact, let me rephrase that. It seems like they definitely have. EA have put way more attention on Ultimate Team than any other game mode because it is a big money maker. It makes billions every single year and shows no signs of slowing down. And from a business standpoint, it makes sense for EA to go into this direction. But if they're already making billions, let's give some love to the other game modes. Now, it has been rumored that there's going to be more attention to career mode, Volta, and pro clubs this year. But so far, it has just been a rumor. So I'm really hoping that they'll follow through and actually provide some substance to these other game modes because these other game modes are actually good. It's just that they get no love. The second thing on my list is bring more of a competitive side to pro clubs and start to move it away from Ultimate Team. Most people would agree, even pro players have said this before. Ultimate Team as a game mode is the best one, but for it being the best one to have a competitive esports tournament, not so much. There's way too many AI variables. At the end of the day, it is one person controlling 11 players on the pitch. This becomes double once you count that there needs to be 2 teams playing every single time. Otherwise, there is no game. And once you add on the extra AI components of this being dictated by the AI to have the rules being enforced, there's a lot of issues with penalties being given when they're not penalties, overpowered kickoff glitches with you having no control over your defense because they just seem to lose any capability of using their feet. It is a massive issue. That's why there have been loads of players saying that pro clubs is the way to go. For this to either be 11-a-side, 5-a-side, whatever it is, to have at least one person controlling one player. Nothing more, nothing less. This also brings in another side to esports or its competitive nature. It's no longer just about one person being good at the game, it's also having a good solid team for you to compete. And when I say team, I don't mean Ultimate Team, I mean team as in the other players that you're playing alongside with. Now with this, it's not going to change overnight. It's not going to be EA Sports FC 24 to release and all of a sudden everyone just goes to pro club, and that's where the competitive nature now belongs. And that's where esports tournaments will come in, because that's not going to happen. It took years for Ultimate Team to be the main game mode in terms of esports. It's going to take much longer in order for EA to drop it and go to a different game mode as a whole. But it would be nice to have more of a competitive edge in terms of pro clubs, rather than it being the bare bone game mode, which is exactly what we had 10 years ago. Honestly, there hasn't been many improvements since then, especially when what we've just gone through is really the potential of what this game mode really could be. It could be the face of esports in terms of football, but weirdly, it's not, and that just doesn't make sense. Number 3 on my list, we have customizable leagues and tournaments within Ultimate Team. There's times when you want to play competitively or even just have a laugh with friends on a larger scale. You want to play online, but you don't just want to do one-off games within friendlies. If you do try and set up a tournament between friends, you need to track it yourself, or at least using third-party software, or even just maybe jotting it down into like a book or on your phone to keep track of what games were played, who scored, top goal scorer. It just becomes way more work than what it needs to be. Either having a knockout tournament or league, which you can bring together just by inviting the people that you want to invite and playing. Now this can be done over the course of days, weeks, months, however long the friends want to be playing together. In most cases, it will be completed whilst they're just having fun, keeping track of absolutely everything without really needing to go and use anything else. They could just play the games and have fun, have a laugh without having to take it too seriously in terms of needing to go and get third-party software. Following on from this, there have been loads of people that have talked about where everyone would actually start to put coins in order for there to be a tournament. So they'll all put in 10,000 coins, and let's say it's between 8 players and they're going to go to a knockout tournament. That's 80,000 coins, and the idea is that the winner would get all 80,000. Now, even though this would be a pretty cool idea, EA is probably not going to go for it, and it makes things even harder when there's been so many times in which they've been called out for having gambling within game, and now this actually would be. But either way, it shows that people are interested in this type of layout, not just for a coin balance, but playing between friends on a tournament or even a league basis. The fourth thing on my list is to have lone players between friends. This is following 10 years ago when we had trade offers. There was a point where instead of you just buying the players that you want to buy, if you didn't have the coins, you could actually trade some of the players within your club for the player that you would like to purchase. And if the owner of that player says, actually, that's a really good deal and I do want those players that he's offered within a trade offer, they can then accept or reject. This, of course, was removed from Ultimate Team because even though it was a great feature, many people exploited this by buying players for real money rather than just the coins themselves, making things a lot easier and much harder for EA to track. So this changed, I believe, in FIFA 14, maybe FIFA 15, somewhere around there. But ever since then, people have been asking for a mechanic like this to come back, and probably the best way for this to happen is to have lone players between friends. So let's say, just for an example, I managed to pack Pele, got extremely lucky, but for some strange reason, I wasn't using Pele within my main team. He's not even on my bench. One of my friends can then reach out and say, hey, I see that you have Pele, but you're not using him. How would you like to loan him to me for, say, 1,000 coins? In which, because for whatever reason, I wanted 1,000 coins and I'm not using Pele, I can agree. Now, he doesn't go and get that exact Pele card. What happens is that Pele just becomes unusable to me. But out of it, my friend would get a loan version of however many games that we agreed, and it would just be a loan card. The second that they run the contracts down and have 0 games left, or the timer runs out, or maybe me as the owner of Pele, I can just call back and say, I want to use my Pele again. That means that they can no longer use their loan version, and of course I would get back the Pele, which I did pack. Still tradable, still can do everything. It's just I loaned them out for 1,000 games, for 10 games, a certain period of time, or just for however long I really wanted until I called them back. Lone players is a big part of football as is. It would be cool to have it in Ultimate Team, and something like this, it doesn't affect any coin balances, absolutely nothing whatsoever, unless there is an agreement based on, hey, I would like to loan this player for this amount of games for this amount of coins. Do you agree? In which at that point, it's no different to any other player that gets listed on the transfer market, and it completely avoids the problems that were there during the trade offer fiasco and all the problems that EA had back at the beginning of Ultimate Team. At number 5, I've listed a complete revamp to the game modes. There are some game modes which are just there for the sake of being there, and I'm talking about FUT Moments, which is a shame because it's new this year, but honestly, it hasn't done too well. And I don't mean that in the sense that it's a bad game mode, I mean that because EA didn't really bring any content. Even with the types of content that they did provide, it's always been limited to amateur or semi-pro difficulty. There were some at the beginning of the year, or some challenges which are there there all year round where you can increase the difficulty, but other than that, they didn't really increase it. Not to mention that the rewards with the seasonal rewards, they're not that many of them. So EA never really wanted you to collect that many foot stars if you were to grind out this game mode. And to me, that means that this game mode specifically needs a revamp, either by completely removing it or upgrading it to provide more content next year, or just make it more useful. It doesn't need to be given the best rewards, but there were times when I completed absolutely everything, and I'm talking about the beginning of the year, and there was no more content for the rest of the season. Foot Draft is another game mode which many people say they need to revamp. It needs a complete overhaul and massive improvement. The fact that when you go and select a player, it's only allowing you to select them within their default position and you cannot change them is a bit of a joke. Not to mention that there isn't a dynamic player selection based on formation. So if you select a 3 at the back formation within Foot Draft, once you get down to going through your subs and reserves, it will still give you fullbacks. It treats it as if you went through a 4-4-2 formation regardless of what you selected based on your subs and reserves, which is not ideal when you've got a 3 at the back. You don't need more fullbacks. You could use them, but you're going to have to use them out of position. And this year, based on the chemistry system, they have no effect whatsoever. They're always going to be 0. And you cannot change them to an alternative position, even if an alternative position is for them to be a centre back. It just won't allow you to do so. It's small stuff like this that really makes these game modes feel somewhat outdated. And number 6, this is a simple one. There needs to be changes to draw quits. How are we playing an online game within 2023 with the game's release, but also 2024 next year, and there's still an issue of someone quitting mid-game and no one being rewarded fairly? You can be in a game and it could be 1-0 to your opponent. They got a lucky goal just having 1 shot on target within the first half. After you've had 20 shots, you can get all the way up to the 89th minute and finally you manage to score. It's 1-1. They quit. They do get the loss, but that game does not count for you. It doesn't count for you, but you still get coins at the end of it and you still lose contracts. But more importantly, that's like 15 to 20 minutes of your time, which is completely wasted, counts for nothing. Most would agree that if you're gonna go and quit, you forfeit the game. Whether that's you dashboarding or you just quitting throughout the menu, your opponent should still get the win. You forfeited the match. The person that forfeits still gets the loss. The person that dashboards still gets the loss. But a person that really suffered, wasted 15 to 20 minutes and managed to bring it back to equalize, they get absolutely nothing. They get screwed over more than anything else. This simply should not be the way that things work. It's just a poor gameplay error. On top of this, and this brings us to our final point for this video, of course, it's consistent gameplay. It's ridiculous that when going into Ultimate Team, you can play in the morning at 6 AM and everything feels fine. It's smooth. But by the time that you get to 1 PM, it feels like you're playing FIFA back in the early 2000s. Everything is slow, sluggish, and it doesn't appear that motion capture was ever recorded for Ultimate Team. It is completely different gameplay. Not just that, but it is completely different from game mode to game mode. Foot Draft gameplay is different to Foot Champions. Foot Champions is different from Division Rivals. Division Rivals is different from going into squad battles. It's all different. There is no consistency at all. And all players really want is for there to be reactive content, for you to be able to go into a game, press a button, and for it to happen. Of course, there's going to be some minute delay, there always will be, but for the delay that it is ridiculously bad. And it gets progressively worse depending on the days that you play and the time that you play. But anyway, here are 7 items that I've listed onto a wish list, which came from me, as well as other people within the community that I've seen people talking about in previous years. For some of these, they're very ambitious, whereas others, such as change to draw quits, as well as consistent gameplay, it should be a lot easier for EA to focus on. If you want to add anything else to this list, then let us know in the comment section down below. But anyway guys, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But for now, I'm going to see ya.